Welcome to my TBR of Autumn Equinox, as well as our Guild Book Club winner announcement. I don't expect to actually hold you hostage here for very long, because this time around I did not set up kind of like a fallback TBR onto the subjects that I don't actually need for my year. Mainly, right, because I have, like 8 prompts that I need to fulfill for this to begin with, so the chances of me actually going through that are not necessarily like sky high, but also because I think it's gonna be more fun to just leave it open entirely for mood reading if I do so happen somehow to actually get through these books, which, you know, can happen, have happened, but like I wouldn't bet on it happening. So I've only set a TBR for the exact prompts that I need to pass the Autumn Equinox of my career, or my character's career, which is Dreamwalkers. I'm sure some of these will be grades that you need, so if that is the case, hopefully some of these will be recommendations as well. But I would also love for you guys to use this video's comment section to ask for suggestions of prompts that you think are a little bit tricky and you need help with. So go peruse the comment section, and hopefully there's gonna be people be like, hey, I'm struggling to find this and that, do you guys have any recommendations? And I hope that the community can come together and then play a little game of recommending people stuff. So I'm gonna go through my TBR first, and then we can go through the results of the book clubs. One of the books actually is the book that is on my TBR. Unfortunately, not for the guild that I would actually need for my character, so that's not perfect, but you know, still fun. Okay, so we're gonna start with Art of Illusion. I need both O and Q from that. Ordinary prompt was image generation, random emoji generator, and you'll see from the video here when I was generating it randomly, I got one of the emojis of the zodiac signs. At first I really kind of short-circuited and wasn't sure what to do, but then just applied the previous prompt of getting the recommendations of the zodiac sign, and I got a Leo. And I went through that. I was kind of struggling to find something that would fit neatly into my TBR, making it a little bit more varied. Ended up going for one that I have heard very mixed things, so I am going in with the expectation that, you know, it might not be the best, but it could be, so let me know if you have read it and what you thought of it. The book is My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I think it is kind of a dramatized version of... This is almost like a literary take. A novel about a young woman's efforts to duck the ills of the world by embarking on an extended hibernation with the help of one of the worst psychiatrists, and it's told from a perspective of someone who I believe is meant to be happy because they fit in all of the societal norms and the beauty standards and whatnot, but are not. From what I recall, some of the criticism of this take was that, to take a hibernation like that, you might be quite privileged to be able to just like sit back and do that. But I know I'm expecting it to be quite messy and insightful still, so I'm quite excited about it. I'm quite excited to see what I think of it as well. Not a book that I even own. That's the only one from the TBR that I don't. And not a book that I probably would have even maybe ever read. So this is definitely one of those cases where the readathon makes me branch out. So we'll see. We'll see what we think of that. Next one is The False Target, and that is a prequel for which I am very excited, because this book not only is from the author that I really like, not only is it from the series that I really am excited to continue. I still kind of need to read the second one because I stopped because I was just not... the mood was not hitting, but it wasn't the book's fault. Loved the first one, was a 5-star read, which you know I do not hand out very easily. Not the longest either, and it has pictures. So, necessary, but definitely appreciated. I don't know when was the last time that I read a book with like actual pretty illustrations throughout. But this is the prequel to Her Majesty's Royal Coven series. I think we go back quite a lot in time, but obviously it's about witches, so I'm assuming there's gonna be a character that we're familiar with. I genuinely don't know too much about it, but I do know it's a prequel, and presumably you can read it, you know, without having had read the first book. So if you do want to start here, I'm sure you can. And hopefully this is fun and excites more people to read HMRC, because I personally really loved it, but I also understand why it's not for everyone. The villain in that is very, very easy to hate though, so that's nice. nice. But it does have a very British type of sense of humor, so I can also understand why it maybe would not be for everyone, but you're wrong. No, I'm joking. The next subject that I need to pass is spells and incantations, and the charm we're learning is Dancing Stars. Prompt is a 5-star prediction. This was quite hard because I am, as I said, quite strict with my 5 stars, and I found myself tending to predict something that I will really like, but it's usually like 4 stars acceptable. I have gone with a book that is technically a spin-off, but it's like it's a standalone, but it's set in the same world, so it doesn't really matter if you read the first one or not. But I gave the first one 5 stars, I believe, and it was a very surprising read because I didn't necessarily, like, I expected to like it, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and it was just so enjoyable. You know, and I read it in a day, which also barely ever happens, so I thought it would be fitting, while still a little bit risky, but I am gonna use the undermining of Twyla and Frank. The main protagonists here are in their 40s, I believe, which is also very nice to see because we just don't see that often in that type of genre of, it is set in the world that is, you know, mirroring ours, so it kind of almost feels like urban despite the fact that we're literally going into different realms of like death. The first one in this world actually also made me quite emotional in parts, as well as, you know, making me smile and root for the couple. One of those like easy reads while still evoking enough emotion to actually be invested. And I can't tell you how long it's been since I've been invested in a relationship specifically. Does the same thing. And there's also a little dragon, you know, as a bonus point. So I'm quite excited about that as well. Okay, and I think I only need O in spells and incantations, so we're moving on to lore, which I also just need the O in that, and we're studying Eltirian history, which is a vampire book. For this I'm going to go with manga, because again I try to like mix it up so I have like a bit of everything for my mood reading purposes. But this one is called #DRCL, which is presumably for like Dracula. It's called Midnight Children 01, because the first volume. It has very beautiful artwork that I'm quite happy and excited to delve into. All I know is that this is a spin on a Dracula retelling, of course, and I think it is gender bent, or it does have something to do with gender or the lack of. It is set in a school, so I'm not actually sure how young this will read, but I guess I will let you know. But I don't want to know too much about it, so I'm also gonna be a little bit rubbish at telling you what this is about. That is obviously very much vampire and very much fits into the category. Moving on to psionics and divination. For O, I have Rewind Time, favorite author's debut book. Now this one went and checked quite a few, and then I realized that I have read their debut work, which I again could reread, but Andy Weir was The Martian. Patrick Rothfuss, I believe actually The Name of the Wind was also, according to my, you know, very limited research, the first published work. Man Called Uva, it was also Beckman's first work, so I have already read that. Then Becky Chambers' first one was The First Wayfarers, who also, how is everyone so good with their debut work? Not like the fact that they're pretty much like my favorite books and it's debut works. Good for them. I settled on the book that I believe is going to be the most challenging of my TBR, primarily through to length, but probably also because of the content. I went with N.K. Jemisin, whose the 5th season is one of my absolute all-time favorite books. Didn't have as much luck with the City We Became one, but I don't even care because the 5th season is just phenomenal. I'm gonna go with the 100,000 Kingdoms, which honestly, if it's a really good book, it really deserves a cover redone, because what is this? It's a little bit of, it's just sad. One of the people is named as a potential heir, and there's a lot of political turmoil. If the author hasn't strayed too much from what the other books are, is going to be pretty heavy at times. I'm expecting a lot of world building as well, so it will really just depend. But I'm excited for it. On the back it does say gods and mortals, power and love, death and revenge, she will inherit them all. It's very dramatic. It's going to be very epic, I think. I would love to hear your thoughts if you have read this one. Do you think that it takes quite a lot of work, or do you think that it's one of those that really flows well? Let me know. So I need all 3 marks in this category actually, so let's go to Q. Significance of reoccurrence. Same letter appears in the title 4 or more times. Boy, was I upset at myself for making this prompt, because it was so much harder than I thought to find. 3 was so easy to find, but 4? So I've ended up going for one from one of my previous hauls, so it's one of the newer books on my shelves. Again, not one though that I would have prioritized, so interesting, but you know what, maybe it's for the best, because otherwise it could have gone into the shelf and then stayed there for a bit too long for my liking. But it has a very long title, so hence why we picked it. It's called Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory, and I'm pretty sure it has enough. 7 O's, so plenty, and I'm sure there's other letters that I repeat, but we'll take it. This is a collection of short stories, and it is by the person who has created BoJack Horseman, I believe. I actually have not seen that show, but I've known of the vibe, and I think it will be interesting to read that type of chaotic, bizarre, hopefully insightful stories about just humans being humans. I also anticipate this actually being quite sad, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, and then for Distinguished is Introduction to Tarot number 2, and I've decided to go for a actual physical tarot deck, and I got this card. I can't actually remember what the card was, but I do remember it had a girl and a door and a candle, and I think those were the 3 objects that I was looking for. I was like searching for the word search, you know, function through Goodreads and whatnot, and then I was just looking physically on the covers. The girl obviously would have been the easiest because it's just like a girl on the cover, but I didn't quite want to go that way. Then I was looking for the door, and I know, you know, there's like every Heart a Doorway was like the easiest one, because not only does it have the word, but it has the physical door on the cover, and I'm sure there was more, but the only ones that I can think of were the ones that I have already read. And then eventually I have found one from the author I've been meaning to try for a long while, and I haven't actually tried yet, so this is gonna be my first piggy dipping into the author's work as well. I'm quite excited about that. It does indeed have candles here, and also, I'm pretty sure there on the edges as well of this edition, which is the Fairloot one. So I'm gonna go with Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I have quite a few other books by the author as well, so it would be really good to see if I like these. I'm gonna show you the edition as well because it's very pretty. There. I want to say, but I'm not confidently saying so. I want to say that this has a polyamorous relationship because a lot of the author's books do, but I'm not 100% sure now, so don't quote me on that. But our main character is a medium called David. He, I think, is threatened by a family curse and has to go to his best friend who could help him navigate that. Sorry, ex-boyfriend, not best friend, ex-boyfriend, called Reese, who then also brings in his astrologer wife, Moira, as they navigate magic-riddled Boston through secret societies, familial bonds from beyond the grave, and much more in this gorgeous, richly imagined novel. So it's very gothic-y, it's very supernatural. It almost reminds me a little bit of Masters of Death, because of the medium and all of the people kind of having different abilities. I expected so much of Masters of Death, but I didn't think that it quite delivered to what I wanted it to be, which was very sad for me. But maybe this is gonna be it, because the setup really excites me, but I was looking for different things, I think, from that book. So this could be it. It's gonna be very exciting to see what that is, and also to see how I vibe with the author. No, I'm right. They did have also tarot cards on this, so it just seems like a very fitting fit for the prompt. It just aligns very nicely. My last prompt, which was actually the first prompt, I just read them wrong, was for Alchemy, for Ordinary, Chemical Breakdown, and this is for the read that will make you emotional. And for this one, I have picked a graphic novel. It's called Layla Starr. The person who's going to invent immortality is about to be born, and so death is being reincarnated into a human body and sent down to Earth in Mumbai. Will Layla take her chance to stop mankind from permanently altering the cycle of life, or will death really become a thing of the past? And it's just not, like, I don't know that this is gonna make me emotional, and first of all, it's quite hard for me to be very emotional in books. Day Tripper was a graphic novel that really made me emotional, and I'm, you know, emotional? That's vague. I'll feel something, I'm sure. So, and I've been really meaning to pick this up. That's another one I kind of forgotten, and I think is a good chance to slide it in there. So this plus Year of Rest and Relaxation is my official TBR, which is looking okay. I think it could be okay, but if not, then I need to count my points and see if I need to like extend or something or swap something. You know, we have the Emporium now if needs be. And now let's see what the Guild Book Clubs picked for their reads. So we'll start with the House of the Arcane. And for the options, as a reminder, If We Have to Be Haunted got 9, almost 10%, but the least amount. Serpents of the Wings and Sleeping Giants were both around 23, 24, and then the winning selection got almost half the points at 42.9%, and it's actually the book called The Spell Shop, which I actually have never heard of, so this is very interesting result for me personally to see. So this is your book. I hope you will enjoy it, and the rooms are going to be set up really soon for you guys to chat in. Moving on to the Archivists, we had a close call-ish, not between the Priory of the Orange Tree and not between the Jasmine Throne. Those got around 15% each. Belladonna was on the heels of the winner with 32%, but the winner got 37% votes, and that actually is, and I have this with me, The Will of the Many. Is actually the book that I really want to read, and I was saying how funny it was that the Archivists, like most of their choices were massive books, which just the lore writes itself, because that's such an Archivist move. I loved it. It is a bigger book. However, I have heard amazing things, so I'm very excited for you guys to read it. I will be looking forward to your feedback, because there's going to be a lot of people now reading it and saying what they thought, so this is great for me personally. You know, remember that any book that you can buy a scroll to count a book that is over 500 pages, which I can confirm this one is 600 pages. You can count it for 2 prompts, so remember that option exists if you would like to split this up into 300-page book and then make yourself feel like it's not as bad, you know? So that's your selection for the Archivists. The Order of the Crescent, this one, again, about 15-ish% for Lore and Pandora. Slightly more at around 30%, the Poppy War, but the winner was actually, this is the one that I said that aligns with mine, but I am not in the Order of the Crescent, so that's a little bit annoying. But we have Evocation, this book, that got 40%. I hope you will enjoy your read. Order of the Crescent has gone a little bit paranormal this time. And then the Mindwalkers, you know what, it's only the second time we're doing the book clubs, and the first time we had a repeat book, and I think it was A Fate Inked in Blood. 2 guilds ended up reading that book, and I can't quite remember which guilds those were, but it'll be funny if it's the same. Actually, let me check. Oh no, it was Order of the Crescent, the Mindwalkers. So this time, still the Mindwalkers are the ones reading a book that another guild is reading. It's just this time they're twinning with the Archivist, because The Will of the Many has won in this round as well with 38.4%. Then the second in command was pretty much 27% for Rebecca, 21% a memory called Empire, and then 13% If the Shoe Fits. You're reading this one together, well, not together, you're reading it amongst yourselves, but it is the same book as the Archivist, so it's fun. It's gonna be interesting if this is gonna be like a theme that we always get. Not only do we because they were randomly selected for the suggestions, so not only did we get that luck that the same book was selected, but the same book also won. Again, remember that you can have those scrolls to help you out if you do want to count it as multiple books, and I think you should, because it's a big one. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you are reading. Let me know if you've read any of these. Remember to ask people for suggestions in the comments if you're struggling with a prompt. I really want that section to be a helpful place for people. And I appreciate everyone who's going to take time to actually answer and give people suggestions, because it's very nice of you. Alright, I think I am going to skedoodle now. I'm actually doing Patreon sprints and I am very late to come back. So I'm gonna go, but I will see you very soon. Kicking off the readathon with some live sprints on the 1st of September, since it happens to be a Sunday, so that's perfect. I'm very excited, and thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you soon. Bye.